Hi, everybody. My name is Gabby, and I'm founder of Diversity Alliance. Today, I'm wearing orange, yellow, and pink, kind of like flowery top. It's got kind of like 70s vibe going on with a big collar. I've got long brown hair, brown skin, a red lipstick as usual. And behind me, I've got a fairly neutral background, bit of beige, but as usual, my plant, Chaz, is here with me, spurring me on, keeping me calm, cool and collected, we hope. And really, we started running these campaigns back in September last year. So we started off with Black History Month and then moved on to honouring men, and we had Disability Awareness Month, and then this month is our campaign around LGBTQ plus history. And why these campaigns? Well, really, and I think I've mentioned this before in a couple of other videos, I am looking to inspire action. So I'm looking to inspire action within the events community and the wider community. And how can we do that? I think we can do that by listening to different voices, listening to experts, those with lived experiences, to really kind of help guide and inform us and just make us a little bit more aware of where our blind spots might be, or knowledge that we don't have, or just give us an understanding of their experience so that we can hopefully do better and be better for everyone. And as always, everything we talk about affects all of us in some shape or form. If it's not us personally, it might be a friend, a colleague, a family member. So I think these are always really applicable conversations for everyone. And I'm delighted this week to introduce the first guest for LGBTQ plus History Month campaign. And I'm going to introduce Sam, but you're going to kind of tell us a little bit more about yourself. Hi, Sam.
Hey, Gabby, thanks for inviting me on. It's wonderful to be here. Yes, my name's Samantha Nelson. I'm a trans woman, originally from the northeast of England, but currently living in London. I've been down in London for about 13 years. You caught me in my house, in my sunroom, with my plants that also keep me calm, which is good. Nice place to be. So it's just great to be here and have an open conversation with you.
If we have leaders, C-suite, and we're asking for them to kind of show up and show support for people from all backgrounds, whatever that is, whether that is the trans community, whether that is, with regards to different racial diversity, whatever that is, with that backdrop and the little things that are being kind of put in people's ears and heads, what would be your advice to kind of leaders and C-suite in that aspect around how to approach inclusivity for everyone, including the trans community?
Yeah, I mean, it's something we talk about, across most organisations are now involved in DE&I to greater or lesser expense. They'll have rainbow flags during Pride Month. They'll have women's events marking International Women's Day. There's lots of virtue signalling going on. There's lots of, look how good we are. But none of this has been driven down into actually fundamental change and the connection between the society and the work environment, to understand, A, who's present within the space, and what, if they're not present, why aren't they present? And B, the fact that, no one's asking for the world to be changed. We're asking to be included. And this is the piece, recognizing. And I always say, because I do a lot of speaking events, and I do have meetings with C-suite members and whatnot. And the most important thing that they really struggle with is not knowing what to say. Yeah. And a person in that position is looked upon, almost become an image of they're supposed to know everything, and it becomes self-reflective themselves. That there's sometimes an inability to step back and say, okay, I'm going to display my vulnerability. I'm going to say, look, this is important to me, but I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Being able to do that and being able to have open conversations and canvas for opinions and actively listen, not just listening with the desire to respond and already having the company position in the back of the head that this is how we do it, or this isn't how this organization does it, or this is what we expect. Actually listen. Mm-hmm. And that makes such a difference. Of course, it's nice to see rainbow flags out during Pride Month. It's like them. But if you're going to do that, don't just fund it, participate. If there's an event on, go and speak at it. Attend it at the very least. Mm-hmm. Having a C-suite member there who's willing to do the opening 5 minutes and say, look, this is important to us all. I'm here. I admit I don't know anything, which is why I'm here to learn, can bring different people into the conversation. And that's very important. Get away from just virtue signaling and get into a space where you're walking the walk, you're learning, you're open, you're ready to engage, and you're ready for change.
Yeah. And with that in mind, then, is there kind of any resources or places that people can go to obviously it's great to be able to have conversations with people like you, and that's usually the best way of learning, is having those real world conversations, right? Because there's so much you can learn from people's body languages, their tone of voice. You get to understand their experience better because of that. But if they don't have access to that, what other kind of resources could they use? Where could they go to get some knowledge, educate themselves around this as much as they can?
Yeah, I mean, there's never any replacement for personal experience, but for having discussions from both sides, actually, to learn different positions. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I've quoted a whole raft of laws, because for some reason I've gone from being an engineer to almost being a lawyer and having to remember all these acts and what applies here.
You need to be in politics next, Samantha.
Don't do that. Don't do that. It overcomplicates it. At the end of the day, there's two ways of looking at it. One piece is understanding yourself enough first. So I'm a great proponent of go and listen to Brené Brown, listen to her TED Talk, read her books, understand why your thought processes are the way they are. Open yourself up to that level of learning. So that's one element of it.
Yeah.
But the learning themselves, if you haven't got anybody in your immediate orbit that you can bounce off, and there are organisations there. You've got Stonewall, for example. You've got gendered intelligence. You've got global butterflies. These are all trans LGBT specific, but equally there's resources around gender. If you want to get to the business side of it, look at some of the McKinsey reports around D&I with regard to this is the business reason for doing it. So there's so much reading out there, and I spend most of my time reading all these things.
So do I. And then try to relay it to people because they can't be bothered to read it.
It's never easy. But the best thing, I mean, honestly, Brené Brown, just buy a Brené Brown book and read that. It's a great starting point.
It is, isn't it? And you're right. And it is about that self-awareness piece. And like, for me, I've probably only come to that place of wanting to be more self-aware over the past couple of years. I think maybe as I've matured and grown, and hopefully I'm less kind of like self-absorbed and selfish, but I've actually wanted to understand why I approach things in different ways, why I think certain things, is it even right? What am I basing these thoughts on? What experience am I basing them on? And so I've been doing a lot of that question work for myself, and wow, has it changed how I view and approach things? But I don't think as humans we're encouraged to do that enough. I don't know.
No, that's right. And particularly in this country, I don't think we are. If you think back a few years ago, we used to see on American TV shows, seeing their therapists, and we almost had like a snigger therapist. Honestly, I had therapy post-pandemic. I just got myself into quite a low place because of the isolation I went through. Yeah. And even myself, who I consider to be quite aware, actually just being able to talk to someone in an open environment and share that and almost bounce things back and forward made such a difference. I am a great believer in building your self-awareness, never thinking you've got all the answers or that but being able to listen to yourself and being able to bounce it off people are so important. And I must admit, I'm a great proponent for being in the space with people. So I know I'm very unpopular, but I want us all to get back to the offices more than we are at the moment. Because although my sunroom here is beautiful, I just miss being around people and having a cup of tea and having a chat.
Same, I do as well. I mean, I do like that good mix, but I would like, if I had actually had an office, I would make the effort to go in more times than I probably would be at home. And I think that human connection is so important. And
so important for your mental health. It really is. And physical activity as well. Just going to the office gives you a bit of physical activity, because it's too easy to get stuck in the space and just end up doing Zoom calls all day or doing bits and pieces, not actually being particularly active. It's so easy to get into that. And I'm still in that post-pandemic hangover to a degree.
No, I know what you mean. And then when we're talking about these kind of these narratives and this news and headlines that we're reading, if you're kind of in here and you're not discussing this with other people, being out in the community and here sharing ideas and thoughts, then you really are going to get one viewpoint on a situation. You're not really viewing the world in its entirety. You're viewing it through, Square, your phone, or
that's right.
TV or whatever. So
yeah, and there's no release from it. You're right, because an echo chamber within social media can self-perpetuate your own view, but if you dip into the other view, and you've got this constant drum going on in your head, thinking, oh, what they're saying now, what have they said now, why are they saying that, how are they presenting that? It can really get you down unless you've got the real life. When you go outside and you chat with friends and have a coffee and say, you don't believe what they're writing now. And you can always play it down. But when you're sat by yourself, the stress just can go up and up and up if you're not careful so easily.
So easy. It really is. Oh, well, I've loved this conversation with you. And before I kind of close it down, I just want to ask if you had anything else that you wanted to share, any important message that you wanted to put out there for our viewers and listeners.
I think, what we talk about here is you can position on a global perspective, you can position on a national perspective, or even your locale. In my mind, it comes down to something as basic as the people you're in contact with, your neighbours, say your neighbours, your colleagues that we've mentioned there. Open up and have conversations, get to know one another, support one another, regardless of diversity traits. Because at the end of the day, there's too much division in the world, and it is being perpetuated for political reasons in my mind. And that's the only time I'll mention policy. So I'd love to sort of leave you with a message of let's move away from this hashtag hate that's happening at the moment, and let's move the dialogue to hashtag hope.
Yeah. Oh, what a beautiful thing to end on. Hashtag hope. Thank you. Thanks so much, Sam.
Okay. Thank you. It's wonderful to be here.